So, good evening and welcome to tonight's presentation of O.A.ZA NGO. Tonight we are going to present you what are we doing. In the first part we are going to present you about O.A.ZA, our value system and why we have established it. So you will see the background of it and the values we want to promote. And in the second part we are going to present you what are we doing and how we are doing that. And then you will see also how can you get engaged and help us and also help yourself to grow. So in the first part, I'm going to show you in the beginning one interesting movie that we have made in project, similar project like this, youth employment in Karlovac. Why are we doing these things? And then later I will explain the other things. So.
U današnje vrijeme napredovali smo sa razvojem tehnologije do nedavno nezamislivih granica. Pokušali smo se riješiti bolesti kako bi stanovništvu osigurali siguran i sretan život. Podigli smo standard života kako bi si osigurali veći komfort. Izmislili smo naprave za komunikaciju kako nikad ne bi bili usamljeni. Kreirali smo robote kako ljudi ne bi morali naporno raditi, no ipak vidimo da nešto fali. Ljudi su postali sve nesretniji, te iako imaju cijeli svijet nadohvat ruke, postali su isprazni. Mentalni poremećaji su postali najveći uzrok bolesti u modernome društvu. Depresija je postala jedna od najvećih bolesti današnjice. Većina mladih tijekom studiranja, te posebice nakon završetka studija, upada u teška stanja depresije i krize identiteta. Uzrok tome je sve brži tempo života, sve veća očekivanja, te veliki stupanj nezaposlenosti koji mlade stavljaju na izgled bespomoćnu situaciju.
Why are we doing these things? Because you can see that the biggest problem in today's society is that people have distanced themselves from themselves. You know, they are becoming too much looking for the things outside. We have developed so many technologies, we have developed so many inventions, but nothing of that has helped us to become happy, to become whole. You see, there are so many problems, stress, depression, anxiety disorders. In today's society we can see that so many people are looking for psychologists. There is so many problems. And if you can see also in the environmental part, you can see so many problems are happening. We are polluting the atmosphere, we are doing so many bad things. Just because we have totally distanced ourselves from each other also and from the nature. So what we are trying to promote through all of our activities is this holistic approach. We want to connect all the fields together. We don't want to just reach one thing, just that we want to implement renewable energy sources, just that we want to deal with the youth employment, just that we want to deal with the health. These all are our territories of our activities, but we want to collect them all together, connect them, and if we can also, when we are addressing something, that we can address them and that we can make a good effect. So the problem in today's society is not that we don't have technology, that we don't have inventions, that we don't have ways how to deal with the things. The problem is that we have lost value systems. We have totally... what would you say? What is the biggest problem in today's society? How would you respond to that question? I'm usually a person who is not looking like in some superficial things, like when you have a pimple somewhere on your skin, and then you're looking why it has happened. But something is wrong inside of your body. Something underneath is causing it to grow. So if you are just addressing that boil or whatever on your skin, it will not go away. It will happen somewhere else. If you cure it here, it will go somewhere else. If you don't deal or address the problem beneath. So it's also in today's society, it's also in the world, it's also in today's life. If you just address the superficial thing, just the detail, the cause of the problem will not go away. And the cause of the problem is our lust, our greed, our egos, our selfishness. So these are the real problems in the world. The real problems are not just that we need to establish renewable energy sources, that we need to clean the rivers, that we need to address some details. I call it usually cosmetic, how do you say, cosmetic curings, like when you put cosmetics on your face. The problem doesn't go away, you need to cure it underneath. So this is what we are trying to do. We are trying to do in all of our activities, we are trying to promote this proper value system. We are trying to address those things. Welcome. So, we are doing projects with renewable energy sources. We are doing projects about environmental protection. We are doing projects for the youth employment. We are doing projects for the education of the children. But through all of these activities, the most important thing is that we want to address these problems underneath, these values. We want to promote this holistic approach. So, with all of our activities, that's why we have started this organization, and that's why we are dealing with young people. Because it's very interesting. People who are older, it's very hard to change them. They already have developed their habits. They have lived their life, the whole life, in a certain way. They have been raised in a certain way. So because of that, it's very hard for them to change their habits. But if you address young people who are still not, grown up in a certain way, they still want to change, and they have this enthusiasm. All of you have this enthusiasm. You can be the change, because you still are growing. And that's why we are dealing mostly with young people, because we want to help them to grow, to develop a proper value system, and then they can become the change in the world. They can drive the society in a sustainable way. So this is our way how we are doing things. And the main point in our actions is that we want to help young people to find their nature. We want to help them to find where they're good, where their heart is. Because when you find where your heart is, then you really have the enthusiasm to dedicate yourself to that. And if you know the way how to properly dedicate yourself, how to properly engage your energy for the benefit of the others, not just for your selfish desires, but for the others. Like we said, the biggest problem is that we are always addressing our selfish desires. This is the problem in society. And unless these problems are addressed, the lust, the greed, the consumeristic way of living, that we are just looking to the things outside, not to the values inside of us, nothing will change. We can clean all rivers, we can implement renewable energy sources all around the world, we can employ everybody, but nothing will change. Again, we will have problems. We will have problems unless this unsatisfied greed and lust is not changed. And we don't, develop a proper value system. We don't develop, how do you say? Anyway, so this is the things we want to promote. And the point is, like I told you, when you find the thing you are good at, which we are trying to help you with the coaching, I'm trying to promote this servant leadership principle. The principle where the main leader is not there and trying to boss around, trying to be the main guy with a big ego, and trying, to just that he is the main guy, but that the leader is a servant who is serving others, who is trying to help others to grow. And this is also what I want to establish in this organization and what I want to teach the society. I want to help them, and I want to help the people who are dealing with that they grow. That I will be just a facilitator, that I will help them through coaching to grow, to develop a proper value system. And then they can also become leaders. And they can find what are they good at, and then the things can grow. And this is what I'm going to show you later in the second part. The point about the things where our heart is, I'm going to show you one more movie, just that you can see what was I speaking about.
What makes you itch? What sort of a situation would you like? Let's suppose I do this often in vocational guidance of students. They come to me and say, well, we're getting out of college and we haven't the faintest idea what we want to do. So I always ask the question, what would you like to do if money were no object? How would you really enjoy spending your life? Well, it's so amazing. As a result of our kind of educational system, crowds of students say, well, we'd like to be painters, we'd like to be poets, we'd like to be writers, but as everybody knows, you can't earn any money that way. Or another person says, well, I'd like to live an out-of-doors life and ride horses. I say, do you want to teach in a riding school? Let's go through with it. What do you want to do? When we finally got down to something which the individual says he really wants to do, I will say to him, you do that. And forget the money. Because if you say that getting the money is the most important thing, you will spend your life completely wasting your time. You'll be doing things you don't like doing in order to go on living, that is, to go on doing things you don't like doing, which is stupid. Better to have a short life that is full of what you like doing than a long life spent in a miserable way. And after all, if you do really like what you're doing, it doesn't matter what it is, you can eventually turn it, you could eventually become a master of it. It's the only way to become a master of something, to be really with it. And then you'll be able to get a good fee for whatever it is. So don't worry too much. Somebody's interested in everything. And anything you can be interested in, you'll find others who are. But it's absolutely stupid to spend your time doing things you don't like in order to go on spending things you don't like, doing things you don't like, and to teach your children to follow in the same track. See, what we're doing is we're bringing up children and educating them to live the same sort of lives we're living, in order that they may justify themselves and find satisfaction in life by bringing up their children, to bring up their children to do the same thing, so it's all retch and no vomit. It never gets there. And so, therefore, it's so important to consider this question: what do I desire?
So, you have seen a very interesting movie. So, what would you say? Would you like to work in your life the things which you really, where your heart is? One famous person said, I forget who it was, he said that if you would do what you like for your work, you would never go to work again. It's very interesting. And each one of you is very special. Each one of you has really special qualities. Some qualities that nobody else has. But the problem is in today's society that we are really superficially looking to things. We are really distancing ourselves from ourselves. You know, it's really a situation that we are just looking to the objects outside. We are not looking deep inside of ourselves. And this is the problem, because today's young people, youth, don't know where is their heart. They don't know what they like. They are going to colleges. They are doing their works, the jobs and everything. And they're just doing it because they need to do it. They need to earn the money. But if you really like what you are doing, if you really find the thing which inspires you, where your heart burns and you are doing it, and then when you know that you are doing it for the benefit of the others, that's something amazing. That's something what I want to help young people to do. And this is why this organization is created. So that I can help you through personal development, that you can really find where your heart is, and then that we can facilitate the things that you can dedicate yourself to that. Even not in this organization, later you can maybe establish your own job, but this organization can be the boost up. It can be the thing which can help you to grow in that certain direction, and you can help us and the whole society in that way. But the main point, what I'm trying to emphasize in the first part of the presentation, is that I want to deal with the young people who want to develop a proper value system, who don't want to just do things because of their selfish desires, who want to just make more money or become more popular or, you know, like some things like that, which is promoted in today's society. You cannot say that it's not. The main point of today's economical system is to buy more things, then you will be happy. But would you be really happy with that? I don't think so. It's very interesting. The consumeristic society, the main principle of consumeristic society is that the things which you buy, they shouldn't satisfy you. They shouldn't satisfy you long-term. They should satisfy you just for a short period of time, and then they should break or they should be forgotten, because then it cannot multiply. Then you cannot buy new things if you are satisfied with one thing. So it's totally the wrong basis of today's society. This is what we want to address. And we want to address it with the projects which are also relevant for the world. We want to address with the projects, with the youth employment, with the environment protection, implementation of renewable energy sources, and all of these things. But through all of these things, we want to promote this value system. And if you would like to help us, and if you would like to do those things, we are there. This is why we have established this organization. And now I'm going to present you exactly the fields, what we are doing, that you can really see where can you engage yourself and how it really looks like. This is why we are doing this presentation tonight. So, the organization O.A.ZA, it's a synonym for sustainable alternative of community. It means oasis in Croatian. So, it has been established because today's society is in the middle of sustainable development, that it's more and more people are looking for the sustainable development. United Nations are promoting those things and all of the other organizations. But in today's society we also see that there is pretty much unsustainable things also there. Economical things, the values like I promoted, that we are destroying the nature more and more, climatic changes. So the point of our organization, O.A.ZA, is that we want to promote sustainable development and that we want to present oases in today's world in today's desert, like we are saying. So we want to deal with the development of society with the emphasis on the ecology. But we don't want to do it superficially. We want to do it with the promotion of a proper value system, and that's why we want to deal with individuals. We want to focus ourselves on the young people, like we said, because young people are those who can make a change. They are the enthusiastic ones. And we want to deal with them in a holistic way. We want to promote a holistic approach, that we are emphasizing all the areas of life. And the holistic approach addresses the four themes. This is the modern psychology, in principle, how we are presenting it. The first one is physical part. We want to address your physical needs, that you are healthy, that through that we want to address, we are promoting yoga, exercises, ninjutsu, proper food diet, vegetarianism, and things like that, so that you can really have a healthy body. The second part is economical, because you need to have that in order to be stable. So that's why we are doing with the youth employment, with the entrepreneurship. We are wanting to help young people to situate themselves properly materially, that they can really do the things that they would like to do. The third part is psychological, and this part has the biggest problem in today's society, because more and more people are becoming mentally unstable. They have problems with anxiety disorders, depressions, so many things. In Western world, every second person has a psychologist. So we want to address those things, with the things that we are doing, with the personal development, with all the other things. We also want to address spiritual part. And this part doesn't have to deal with religiosity or certain religious paths. We want to address spirituality in a way that we want to help you, that you connect yourself with yourself, and that you really see what are you good at, that you really try to see some higher values in the world, in yourself, that you you can see, how do you say, that you are starting to question yourself. Because the biggest problem is that, like we said, we are too much looking outside, we are not looking inside of ourselves. And each of these parts, if you miss one of those parts, you will not be happy. If you miss physical part, whatever, how much rich you are, or how much emotionally stable, mentally stable you are, or spiritually deep, you will not be happy because your body will be diseased, you will have many problems, you will be unsatisfied. If all of these other things are satisfied, but your economical situation, you are not materially situated, you will again be in problem because you will be looking, how can I earn money for my livelihood? You will be all the time thinking about it. That will bring anxiety and all the other things. If you are psychologically, mentally not stable, which is happening mostly in today's society, especially in rich people's lives, because they are doing so many things, they are earning so much money, but still they are depressed, still they have anxiety problems. So that's why we want to address this. Proper emotional, stability also. And the spiritual part is very important also. How much today's society is also putting it aside. Because if you are not connected with yourself, if you don't find happiness inside of yourself, if you are looking for the happiness in other persons, if you are looking for the happiness in the things, you will never be happy. That's like you are giving the key of your happiness in somebody else's hand. So you are not controlling your happiness, somebody else is. But if you find the happiness from inside, you don't need to have much money, a lot of money. You don't need to have a lot of things. You will be still happy. And you will understand why are things in this world happening. You will understand why if something bad happens to you, why it has happened. And you will pursue some higher value systems. So that's why we want to, approach all of them. And like I said, we want to deal with young people because young people are those who can bring the biggest change. They are carriers of our future. And this is all of you. It's not about somebody else. You are the ones. Each of us, it can be the change. We don't need to change anything outside. We just need to change ourselves. This is the biggest illusion, that we can change the world. We cannot do that. We can change only ourselves. And then, if we change ourselves, then we will radiate the energy. And we will attract other people. And then the things can spread. And then we can do something. So this is the point. And by addressing young people, like I told you, we want to help them to find where they're hard, where they're good at, inspire them, open the projects, open the fields for their activities, and then help them to deal with the different departments or different projects, different ways of how we are approaching the development of society. And with that, after this individual approach, then when they take the responsibility of their back, we are dealing with the development of society. And these are some fields that we are approaching. This is just a few of them. I made this presentation a few months ago. Some more, one more has opened in the meantime. So first of them is youth employment. Youth employment is the field that we have been also doing here. So we are trying to help young people to employ themselves, to develop skills, proper attitudes and value systems, to help them to become also entrepreneurs. And this is what you are going through. And this is what I want to help you also. That's why I'm presenting this presentation, that you can see what we are dealing. And later, we can have individual interviews, and then I can see personally how can I help each of you if you would like to engage in O.A.ZA and to see how can you develop your own business or help us here in the O.A.ZA to spread the things that we are doing. The second project, the second field is youth democracy. Youth democracy is a very vast field. We are trying to promote the servant leadership principle. So we are trying to help young people to become leaders. But this leadership doesn't mean that you become a person who is leading 100 other people, that you are dealing with politics. Leadership means it has to deal with each one of you. You need to know the principles of leadership if you want to lead your own family, if you want to lead your children, if you want to lead people around you, if you are doing some small things. It's the same principles. How to lead your family and how to lead like a very vast, how do you say, bunch of people. If you are in big political positions, if you are a big leader, the same principles, and the details are different. But the principles are those which are important, the basic principles. And this is what we want to promote. And then we want to help young people to engage into the different parts of development of society. Can also deal with the politics or some other things. The next territory is personal development that we are trying to promote through the whole organization. We are trying to deal with this holistic approach. We are trying to help young people, children, young people like you to develop into the, how do you say, wholesome persons. That they can really develop the values and the skills and everything to help them to grow. The next field is environmental governance, where we want to address the issues which are happening in today's society. One of the projects that we are dealing is also the picture here, Kids and Men, which we are trying to promote, trying to educate young people, the children, about renewable energy sources and things like that. But this is not the only emphasis. We want to help them also to grow, to become, like grown persons with the proper value systems and everything. And there are other projects like dealing with eco gardens, urban gardens, and so many other things. And the main point is what we are trying to help you here, that you can really become active citizens, that you can really develop some projects which are going to be, how do you say, addressing the needs in today's society. This is one of the projects that we will be doing in the schools, that we are establishing eco gardens, helping children to engage themselves in gardening. They were establishing gardens in front of the schools with permaculture, how do you say, permaculture design. And this is the first time that they were coming in contact with nature. Because in the big cities, they are not anymore, how do you say, in contact with the nature. This is what is happening with the urbanization. They don't have any contact. They don't know how their dealings are affecting the world, how they are affecting the nature. So through this project, we were trying to address all of these values. This is just one thing because I wanted to present it because he really had this big desire to engage himself, like dealing with the nature, dealing with the plants and all these things. And this is what he really likes. So that's why we have started this project. And he really grew through this, and now he is the head of ecological department inside of O.A.ZA. We have different departments. This is just vast territories, but some specific departments are like the youth employment, the work with the children, the renewable energy sources, the energy efficiency department, the health department, which is dealing with the, like I told you, yoga, jiu-jitsu, the vegetarianism and all these things, and personal development department, which is dealing exactly with those things. And each department has a person who is leading it. And also if you have some desires, we can also develop some projects for you. And this is what I wanted to tell you, that there are many paths, different things, and what I want to do is that I'm not doing everything. I don't want to be the main boss, some person who is directing everything, that everything needs to go through me. I want to help my colleagues to grow, to become responsible, to take, how do you say, the load on their back, to carry, like the responsibility and to develop things and to lead others, so that it can multiply, that it can grow. So that's why I told you there are many things that we can also develop. You can join us. Tomorrow we have interviews with the new volunteers. We will have also after New Year more interviews. So if somebody of you here also would like to join, we can set up something and then talk and see. I have a little more presentation. I'll just show you briefly, because one of the long-term projects dealing with ecology, we are dealing with environmental protection, like we told you, renewable energy sources, green jobs. This is all the things that we are addressing. And the long-term project is that we want to develop is the eco-village. We want to develop an example how people should live in relationship with nature. And I will not now go into details because it's a whole another subject and it's a very long time project. So this was the presentation of O.A.ZA. And sorry. So, this is what I wanted to show you. If you have any more questions, please ask. So, thank you.